I'm going to try to explain the last of my videos that I'm going to make for grafting conifers. As you see, all the bags are open right now. I've let all the water droplets dry on the inside of the bag, and yesterday I did a fungicide insecticide spray. I left them open overnight. I have a lot of condensation up on the walls of the greenhouse, so it's still pretty humid in here. From here on, as we keep the bags tied up around the plants, I'm going to watch for these buds to expand and start growing inside the bag. And as soon as these buds push out new growth, and the needles that unfold are of full size, which you will notice, that's when you're going to start thinking ahead about when you're going to remove the bag completely. You're going to keep these bags on, of course, because you can never let this area dry out while the grafts are knitting, while they're pushing growth. So I guess what I need to explain is that once the needles unfold on the new growth, you've got to wean them off the humidity. You know the graft is successful, you know it's growing, and to wean off the humidity, you have to think of each of these separately. And it's going to start off, the soft pines are going to be the first to break, like this one I just showed you here. It's a 5-needle pine. And so you just don't know which of these is going to start to grow first. After the soft pines, the spruce are going to probably start breaking next, and the hard pines, those two kind of go together. You'll probably see some spruce break first, but between the 2-needle hard pines or the 2 and 3 needle combination hard pines like ponderosa or rigida, those are going to be in conjunction with spruce. And after that, your last ones to break are going to be the firs. So each of these, you're going to have to watch them all and determine how you're going to wean the humidity off of every single one of these. And the person that taught me how to graft, he always said this really is a babysitting job. You got to water things properly. You have to take the time to do all these steps I'm talking about. So there's effort involved. To wean the humidity off, everything's grown, the needles have opened, whether it's a fir, a spruce, or a pine. You're going to, over the course of about 3 weeks, you're going to have to open the bag up every day. And you're going to open the bags on the ones that have pushed and the needles have fully expanded. You might even see a new bud forming along the sides of the new growth or at the tip. So open up the bags and allow them to be open for a half an hour to an hour every day on the ones that have grown, the scions that have grown. And you're going to do this for about 3 weeks. After that, you're going to remove the bag. And a follow-up, that's what you're going to do in the greenhouse until spring comes along and the last frost in your area has passed. And right now, as far as watering goes, you want to keep the pots almost dry, but not completely dry, because if you water them heavily while they're knitting, while the graft is knitting to the rootstock, if there's a lot of water, the roots are working overtime and it's pushing a lot of sap up to the top of the rootstock, and that will screw up the graft on your union with your scion. It'll push it away. So you want to keep them on the dry side, and you just want to barely water them. You got to treat them each individually. So I check them every week, each one, and water is necessary. When they leave the greenhouse after the last frost, you have to what's called hardening them off, and it's the same for tiny plant seedlings you've grown, maybe peppers or tomatoes. You can't just take these grafts outside of the greenhouse and take them outside and leave them there. You have to, over the course of a week or so, take them outside. First day, bring them outside for an hour. Second day, bring them outside for 2 hours. Third day, 3 hours. Fourth day, 5 hours. Always bring them back to the greenhouse, and continuing this process for a week. Maybe up to 10 or 14 days. A week should be sufficient though. That hardens them off to the outside weather. The last thing is watering. Conifers in pots, for as long as they're kept in a pot, when you're up potting them to a larger pot, the rule of thumb for watering is you want to allow the soil to almost dry out between waterings. That is how you water conifers. You do not water them heavily, but rather you keep the soil moist, not waterlogged. You will know the difference. Your pot will be extremely heavy if it's waterlogged, and the care is to continue to do this, of course, as the conifer is in a pot. The last thing I will mention is, as soon as all your understocks are growing in the greenhouse, all your seedlings, you want to do an entire spray of a fungicide and an insecticide. After that, watch the seedlings, watch the scions. If you notice any fungus or any insects, you spot spray individually each one. I think that's all I need to tell you. So good luck. I hope a lot of you guys who are interested in grafting gain enough knowledge to do a hobby grafting situation like this. I hope you really enjoy it. I do.